Okay, Mackenzie, so I'm not sure exactly what you're having trouble with this program, so I'm just going to kind of go over my thought process for this program. So I'm going to come up with a plan, maybe like we did in class today when we were looking at an algorithm. So I know you've read this, so I'm not going to reread it, but I do know that I'm going to have to start off by initializing some kind of variable to hold the money. I'm going to have to set it to 24. So initialize the money variable to 24. And I can even print out, like do a printout of what's going on. I've just tell a little bit, say that the Native Americans paid $24 for, you don't need to put the story there. So you could say at year 0, the value of the investment is $24. So print out a message that prints out the 24. So message that shows that the initial investment is $24. Okay. And now I'm going to have to go through the loop. Now, in that loop, what I tell you right here is that when you multiply 124 times 1.05, that automatically gives you 5% interest added to the 24. So I don't need to do any adding, but I do know that this interest is accumulated every year, and I have a 400-year period that I'm going to have to add 5% for every one of those 400 years. So I know that my loop, and it can be a while loop, you can set your loop counter to 0 and say as long as it's less than 400, because from 0 to 399 is, actually you might want to start it at 1. So loop 1 to 400, and the reason I say start at 1 is this is year 0 right here. And then if we're going to try to print out something every 20 years, I do want to be at 20. And if we're going to use that modulus like it suggests is right here, I do want to make sure that at the 20th year, my remainder by dividing by 20 is 0. So I'm going to loop from 1 to 400. And you could set your loop counter variable to 1 and say while I or counter is less than or equal to 400. And each time inside that loop, you're going to have to set money to money times 1.05. Because again, by multiplying by 1.05, it automatically adds in that 5% interest. If I did 24 times 1.05, hang on, I have a calculator. 24 times 1.05 gives me $25.20. So that's at the end of the first year, it would be worth $25.20. And I want to do that 400 times, as I want to do it for every single year. But I don't want to print out 400 times. So if I just test after I've multiplied money times 1.05, if I just test to see if my loop counter divided or modulus 20 is equal to 0, so if loop counter modulus 20 is 0, then I want to do output. Okay. Now I want to output the value that it's currently at. So if you want to produce a table, you could produce a table and say year and money, and your year could be 0 and 24. Or in your output, you could say whatever my loop counter is plus 1,626 for the year 1626, and that would actually give you the first year was 1626. 20 years later, if I use this, then 20 plus 1626 is 1646. So I could just add 1626 to my loop counter to output that year, and then I'm going to output whatever money is at that point in time. So I'm going to use an if statement in here, and only if the remainder of the loop counter divided by 20 is 0 am I going to produce output. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep calculating. And I think that's all we had to do. because we don't, I mean, I think that's all we have to do. You might be really surprised at what you end up with after that 400 years at 5% interest. Anyway, I hope this helps. If not, send me another message. All right, bye.